Last time on Square Roots, Kime goes home again, Cook and Mac sing a special song, and the old sorceress deals with depression. Also, Jansen abducts his love interest for the second time, and General Calcanus bears it all. Listeners, don't get it twisted. Calcanus isn't compensating for anything with that giant tank. Wink!
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by John, experimental staff Brandon.
It's leaking too much power. How are we going to control it?
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
Matt is attending a baseball game this week. Won't be able to join us, but we don't need that guy anyway.
Oh, that's interesting. Why didn't we just do it yesterday then, if he's attending a baseball game?
Wasn't he doing something yesterday? He said he couldn't do it.
He went to a hockey game.
He didn't go to a hockey game. He watched a hockey game on his TV.
Matt is a sports fanatic, and we're going to have to accept that we come second behind the sweet smack of that delicious puck across the diamond field.
And the nice crack of a bat against a baseball.
Mm-hmm. And the swish of the ice skate as they sow-cow their way towards the goal.
That's what they call it in hockey, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I should say what we do on the podcast. I actually haven't done that yet.
Wow.
This is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs like Lost Odyssey.
You know, Jim's wearing a nice pink shirt. It is very lovely. It's a good shade on you.
It's got a little raccoon on it.
Oh, and the raccoon's got a skull. He's sitting... Okay, so the raccoon is under a rainbow. There's thunderclouds on the either side of the rainbow. He's sitting on a boombox, and it says Teenage Bottle Rocket.
That's a band.
Ah.
Wow. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
It's heckin' chibi.
Mm-hmm. A little chibi, little chibi buddy with a little skull on his shirt.
Yeah, that's a Teenage Bottle Rocket logo. It's a skull with the things behind it.
Okay.
Yay.
My shirt. Why don't you describe my shirt then?
Okay. It's Zangief.
No, it's not. That
Who
is
it?
Not Zangief. That is Bear Hugger from Punch Out.
Oh, that's Bear Hugger from Punch Out, extending his arms, and it says free hugs.
What's
Hey,
what's Vanessa's shirt?
Yeah, why don't you describe my shirt?
It's
Is it a tie-dye? Or is that just the
I was
light?
gonna say tie-dye, but it doesn't look like tie-dye.
No.
How would you describe your shirt?
It's a
Vanessa?
mottled. It's mottled.
I don't know how I would describe this shirt. This was a shirt that was given to me. It's very soft and nice to feel, but it's white and green, like a sort of marble pattern, I guess you would say. It's not quite camo. But it's, yeah, I'm also confused about this shirt, and I don't know if I'm going to wear it out of the house ever.
Vanessa's hiding the part with the embroidered cats on it.
I do have a shirt with cats on it, and I wear it.
I think there's a Garfield on it.
Yeah. It's Garfield,
so we have
and
to.
he's holding a heart, and he says, "I hate Mondays, but I wub you."
Aw.
Yeah.
We do have to send Vanessa some nerdy graphic tees so that she gets her gamer cred.
Oh, that's a good idea. I have one that is a Vault Boy, and it's sort of it doesn't really fit me right now. So I guess I need more graphic tees. The problem is, and this is a problem I was thinking about when Jim, spoiler alert, said that someone complimented him on his brand new tattoo. I don't want people to stop me and talk to me about my interests. So that's the problem with wearing those graphic shirts. Is sometimes
That's why you wear them, is to broadcast your interests, right?
I don't want to advertise.
Well, then don't wear the graphic tee.
I like being super mysterious. I like to just wear like normcore clothes that make me look like a normal lady. And then when people find out I'm into nerdy stuff, they're like, what?
You should wear it, and then when someone asks about it, be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. What? I'm sorry.
What's Fallout?
Yeah. No, this is just a smiling man. And see, he's giving the thumbs up. He's happy.
Just a positive guy.
Yeah, it's just like my positivity shirt. Once I went to a Barnes & Noble to buy an X-Men comic book, and I took it to the counter, and the guy who was checking it out looked at me, and he said, "You don't look like an X-Men fan." That's
And
a
did
true
you
story.
say, thank you?
I said, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I try so hard to dress in a way that makes it look like I'm not a nerd, so nobody will know. Bless you."
I remember when I was talking about my boyfriend at the time when I was working at a bookstore, and one of the cashiers ladies is like, "Oh my God, you're gay? I thought you're just one of those computer guys."
Computer guys? What does that mean?
That's just what she said.
Oh, like a comic book shop guy?
She said the words computer guys.
Huh.
Just one of them computer guys.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Well,
Maybe she thought you were a computer?
Remember this
did
was
she think you were a robot?
this was like the year 2000. Society has definitely progressed since then.
We've come a long way, baby.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of coming a long way, baby, Vanessa,
Yeah.
how did you level up?
Well, last week I talked about the game Yes, Your Grace, which I had tried, and I did do a die. I tried it again, and I didn't do a die. I finished it, and I want to double down on my recommendation. If you have Game Pass, it's a interesting free game that you can play and just, I don't know, zone out a little bit and have a good time with choices. However, it does suffer from the fact that the consequences of your choices really aren't clear at the time, and there's no way to be clever enough to figure out what the quote-unquote right thing is to do, which is, a choice, but it's a little frustrating for me, who likes to always be right all the time and outsmart everything. But I can't, because it's not written that way. I also started a game called Beyond the Sea.
Now that's the BioShock Infinite expansion, right?
Yes.
Part 1 and 2?
No, it is actually, but I was just kidding. It's called Call of the Ocean.
I think
Isn't
it's
it-
Call of the Sea.
Yeah,
right?
isn't it
It's
Call of the Sea?
Call of the Sea. I started that. It's a puzzle game. I only did one chapter so far. It is easy peasy, but if you like point and click adventure games, maybe you'll like that. And I intend to keep playing it. But really, my ultimate level up is that the other day I saw a chipmunk outside, and then later in the day I also saw a bunny outside. So it was a real wildlife encounter day for me. Johnny, how did you level up?
Well, I haven't been outside today because it's very hot. It's very hot this weekend.
I've heard about this heat wave in the Northwest. It sounds horribly uncomfortable.
We broke the earth, unfortunately, and here we go. This is what happens. So it's like the hottest weekend on record for Vancouver. There was actually going to be a weekend like this a couple of years ago, but there was wildfires, so it didn't actually reach those temperatures because of the smoke. So yeah, this is the hottest weekend on record. I mean, right now the house is okay because we're all closed up, and the house is well insulated for the winter, so it'll be okay for a few. We don't have AC, you see. That's the big problem. I should lead with that. So I'm like sleeping with a fan pointed at me. I hate it. I'm on an air conditioner, but the wiring in this house is terrible.
It's hotter where you are than where I am, and I'm in Texas.
Wow. So, I guess I'll keep my small economical car Maybe look into electric options because we use
mm-hmm.
hydroelectricity here. But the problem is that electric cars are for the rich. You have to have real estate and a charging station.
That's right.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on. Let's talk about things that I have done this week, because there's a couple of things I wanted to touch on. The first is, what was it? There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about.
Oh, the heat's gone to his brain. He can't remember.
Give me 1 sec. I'm sure I can remember this because I was doing some... Oh, I know what it was. So I've only... I have had my computer for 3.5 years, and it's always been a little chuggy in games, and I was like, this is supposed to be, you know, a new computer, and it's got pretty good things. Like, I upgraded the graphics card because I was like, I wanted to be a little less chuggy, but it was still a little chuggy. And I figured I'd done something wrong, because that's what happens. If you look up, why is my computer so chuggy, you'll just get like people saying, you're an idiot. Why'd you buy X part or Y part or whatever?
You don't know how to defrag. You went to the wrong website.
So I found out there's actually a very simple answer to why games were not running well. Like all the Ubisoft games weren't running well, and like I'd looked up on forums, and it's like, oh, it's because you have an AMD processor. And it's not true. That is not what happened. I had 8 gigabytes of RAM in one DDR4 slot. And then this week, I bought a second stick of 8 gigs of RAM in another DDR4 slot because my motherboard has 2 slots. And apparently, if you use both slots, it increases the speed and bandwidth of the memory like exponentially. And suddenly all the games ran like they should have from the start. So everything's like running super fast except for Control. But that game has that game's very demanding. That's the only game I couldn't play on Ultra. I went back and like played all the games that were running bad, and they all run amazing now. So it's just a little frustrating. If I'd known, because memory's not that expensive for an 8 gig thing. If I'd known that, I would have done this before I got the graphics card. But it's a learning experience. And now I have the ultimate 1080p non-ray traced machine. But that's cool. So I'm excited about that. And I did download Need for Speed Hot for Soup, the remaster.
Did you say Hot for Soup?
Yep. Yeah, that's, Need for Speed Hot for Soup.
That's very funny. I like it.
Mm-hmm. And it's very hot outside. That's it. Oh, I also watched the pilot to Superman and Lois.
How was it?
Not for... Okay, let me be diplomatic here. For a CW show, and we should probably... Vanessa, you've heard about the exciting CW news this week.
I've heard about all this drama. Oh my God. I thought that these Supernatural fans had maybe moved on. I know they were disappointed with the finale, and then they had a year to sort of sit and think about it, but they have not moved on, and there is drama in the supernatural world.
But first, I will say Superman and Lois, the pilot was pretty good for a CW show. Like, the special effects, a little not great, but, it was... definitely like kind of a halfway between a family drama and a Snyderverse movie. Like they definitely were very inspired by the cinematography of the Snyder movies. And it's got like an interesting setup. So Superman and Lois have 2 kids, and at first they think neither of them have powers, but maybe one of them does.
Ooh.
And they're all moving back to Smallville. And so it's sort of a family drama with Superman events at the same time, and their secrets and stuff.
This is the one with Tyler Hoechlin in it?
Does he have kind of prominent buck teeth?
I don't know.
His front teeth are very prominent in a lot of the shots, and I keep staring at them.
All I know is that I have not seen him in anything. Except for like still photographs.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think he in general is a handsome man.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of got a hammy thing about him.
I can't
John Hammond
describe his teeth. Let's look it up. Superman and Lois. Yeah, that's the one. And let's take a look at these chompers. This is Teeth Talk, the Square Roots sub-podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see them. Oh my goodness. I never knew.
So the supernatural drama, and I was wondering, maybe this is a bit like, I thought about this, are they like pranking and Jared Padalecki's going to be on the show? Because basically Jensen Ackles had announced his prequel show, and then on Twitter, Jared Padalecki said, "This, the first I've heard about this is on Twitter. This really sucks. I'm so upset." But they like have ranches next to each other and hang out all the time. You think that they wouldn't be able to hold a reboot of Supernatural secret from each other?
I don't know why they would either. Like, unless somehow Jared thought he would be a producer on it as well. But
oh, he's a producer? I was like, how are they going to do a prequel series with the actors being so much older than they would be?
Jensen Ackles is the narrator / executive producer, so he's like financing it. And to
he's a money guy.
To not tell Jared Padalecki, who is his neighbor, literal neighbor, is bizarre.
And weren't they both producers on Supernatural?
I don't know.
You do too.
I don't, actually.
So, yeah, that's... And then some people are like, this is an obvious bit. There's a recording of them talking about, like, this project that Jensen's working on. So it's definitely not the first time he heard about it. And other people are, like, mad at Jared for airing their, personal issues on Twitter. And other people are like, oh, this is so terrible for poor Jared. What a wooby baby. So it's just all over the place. I love it. I love stupid drama that really is of no consequence whatsoever. It's great.
And last note is that I started watching Sweet Tooth after Jim and Matt recommended it. Mm-hmm. And I got a couple episodes in, and there was so much stuff about, put on your masks, don't wear your mask, when you do and don't wear masks. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I am not watching a show with pandemic talk about masks and when to wear them. No, thank you. Why would you make this? That is my Sweet Tooth reaction. Not right now. It is not the right time in my life for a show with masks and pandemics.
Mm-hmm. Timing is important.
Why would you do this, right? Like, who wants to watch that?
Was it in production? It must have been. I mean, it takes so long to get these shows past pre-production. Surely it's not a work done in
No, but I think the
to
masks.
COVID.
I think the mask stuff is about.
Yeah. As I don't remember there being a lot of mask stuff in the show.
Well, like, they get to this dinner table and everyone puts on their masks and he's like, "Oh no, he's not contagious," And then everyone just has masks on them at the dinner party. When the one guy gets exposed, everyone throws on their masks and. It's a whole thing.
Well, all the stuff that happens in that little community is kind of a statement on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's not for me right now.
Oh, sure. I can respect that.
You know what is for me?
Big man?
Big man. Oh, he's so hunky. And it's
such a great actor, too.
Yeah, and
it's great.
Amazing to see, like, you don't really see big guys get a chance to emote and like have a story other than that the big guy who comes in to be the big guy. Like, that's crazy. And he's so cute.
Oh man, he has some of the best. He's probably my favorite character in that whole series, and he has some great moments towards the end of the first season where it's like, man, where has this guy been? He can legitimately act. Like, he has some real touching moments. It's great.
And seeing him like destroy people is so fun. I don't know. I guess I haven't really had an action hero I found attractive before in a TV show, so it's definitely weird. But I like it.
Is it like the second episode where they go to the lodge and he has that great fight scene out on the deck of the lodge? Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. He's very handsome. Jim, how did you level up?
Wait, I have something to say.
Okay.
I also got Paramount Plus so I could watch Evil Season 2.
Ooh,
Speaking of TV talk.
Is Lacey's story on Paramount Plus too? The Julianne Moore Stephen King adaptation with Clive Owen in it?
Oh, I'm not sure. That sounds great, though.
Because I've heard that is really good.
Ooh. They also have The Stand on there, the new Twilight Zone, which I never got to see, but Johnny has told me a lot about. Sounds great, so I'm excited for this new streaming platform, except that I already have so much to watch, I don't know how to balance.
And you can watch the Star Trek.
And the Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting your level
Lacey's
up,
story
Jim.
is Apple TV. Sorry.
You should
Dang,
be
I don't want
sorry.
to get Apple TV.
Nobody wants that. Jim, how did you level up?
Oh man, so much since the last time I was on here. I spent some time with Matthew. We talked about that a little bit. Last time we recorded was my first night there. We had good friend times in Florida. I don't know if you guys can see behind me, but I got myself a little drum set. It's all electronic. It's got a cool little electronic module on it that plays with headphones, and you can change the sound, and it's got like a metronome in it, and you can hook it up to like third-party apps on your laptop and do drum lessons and stuff. It's pretty neat. It took me forever to put together this morning.
Jim,
John, you have something to say?
Matt is getting a drum set too.
Yes, Matt's getting a drum set for his son.
This is going to turn into a drumming podcast.
I think you're right.
And I also got the final piece of my Final Fantasy sleeve tattoo. It's a big old bright phoenix right on the underside of my forearm.
Phoenix, the summon.
Yeah, the Phoenix summon. It was a marathon tattoo session. It was 5.5 hours of being in the tattoo chair, and I wanted to die. It was very painful. But got through it. I used some numbing cream at the beginning, and then when that wore off, everything hurt twice as much because I hadn't felt anything up to that point. But it was fine. It was a little sensitive around the elbow and in the fold of my arm. Those are very painful places to get tattooed. But it's fine now. It's still sore and pretty goopy. But I like it. It's going to look good.
And it's in that prime place we've been chatting about that of how good it looks right now. So bright and beautiful. Not that it won't look good later, but it's got the newborn shine.
It does. It's still super bright and fresh, and it hasn't
it's all glossy.
Hasn't scabbed over. Yeah, I put some salve on it. Some gunk. But it hasn't scabbed over yet or dried out, so everything's super bright. I like it. And that's how I leveled up. Are you guys ready to open the dream journal?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you remember last time, we just rescued the old sorceress who turned out to be Grandmama Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma Sarah. It is weird having the children call her Grandma.
Yeah. Grandma!
Like I've said before, I've never seen a JRPG with like married protagonists before. So like them being affectionate with each other frequently is really touching. Like it happens at the end of this chapter too, where they like wake up and embrace each other.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
I like all that stuff.
I think it's sweet, and I was very anti-Kame before, anti-Kime, but now I love him because he's just a nice old man.
Yeah.
I don't like how the characters pronounce Kime's name differently.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Some of them say Kime, and then when Kime says his own name, he just says Kime.
Oh.
He's like, it's because like when he picks up Grandma Sarah off the floor, he goes, "It's me, Kime." But the other characters will say Kime.
Well, I mean, that's realistic. Someone with an unusual name and all their friends don't quite pronounce it right.
No. It's like how you call yourself Johnny, but I call you Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Or how everyone mangles Julio's name.
How so?
How do they pronounce? How do they mangle Julio's?
Like calling him Jules or Julio or
Julio.
That's like not even his name, though. Like, that's not a mispronunciation. That's just an entirely different name.
So I did go back
Jules.
and do the Killalon challenge there. That was pretty fun.
Just like we heard about in our email from a listener.
No, sorry, that's not what I did. I went back and did the Killalon puzzle thing where you have to find all 16 of the statues.
Yeah.
We did have access to the Crimson Forest, so I did go back and do that stuff too. It wasn't worth it. Then you don't get that much prizes and stuff from those little silver guys because you get Gamble, which is the spell you need to try and kill those Killalons really fast. You get that as a prize for getting all 16 Killalons in that mini game at Tuska.
Did you enjoy that mini game?
I did, and I went back to the bar, and there was another mini game, or another one about. A story about this guy who wants to leave the town. Did you get that one?
Yeah, I think I did, about how he just really wants to travel, but his wife is pregnant.
I was like, how would Vanessa feel about this guy?
He sucked. He sucked balls.
He's like
she's pregnant, and I married her, but it's not really what I want, you know? I just want
It's like, this town's too peaceful and boring. I want to go someplace exciting. I'm going to travel with you. I hate it here. You don't know how stupid everything's here, big bro. You have to stay here for your whole life to know how awful this town is. He's like, okay, well, if you want to come with me, you have to, I will be leaving the next full moon, so you can come with me then. Because he's been begging for like months to travel with Chaim, and Chaim's like, yeah, sure. So he says like the next full moon, and then suddenly the guy gets a bit antsy because his wife is about to have her baby, and he's like, well, I don't know, that seems pretty soon, but okay, I'll meet you there that evening. And then the moon you watch the moon get full slowly, and the guy comes around less and less to talk to Chaim. And then the night where they're supposed to meet up, he doesn't show up, and Chaim waits a little bit, and the guy runs in and says, sorry, my wife, she's just about to have her baby, and I just be a few more minutes. I'll just let her have the baby, then I'll slip out the back. And he goes back, and then he never
but Chaim
comes
tells
back.
him,
Oh,
okay,
right.
but you have to hold the baby before you come see me. He's like, what? Okay, that's weird. And yeah, he never comes back.
And Chaim's like, well, it would have been fun to travel with this guy. He was fun to talk to, but I'm glad that he stayed with his kid and wife because, people think that they want adventure, but having a nice town where there's no violence and everyone's happy and peaceful is much rarer than any treasure you can get.
Yeah, this guy basically had like a great privileged life in the suburbs, but he was like, I'm gonna move to the city with Chaim and screw my family. I'll have my own life. I'm sympathetic to that, I suppose, but I'm like, don't get married and have a baby. It's like pretty easy.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do it.
So that's that story. And so you get into the Black Cave, and Sarah moves her stone out of the way, but things are not super cool inside. Like there's a goatsy soldier, and he's covered in cobwebs. And
What'd you call him?
Goatsy.
Goatsy?
Why did you call him a goatsy soldier?
I've been making that joke the entire series.
Have you?
Yes. I just haven't been bringing attention to it. And he has a note that says, bring a light with you. You need the light. And I'm like, oh, and everyone's like, well, that's weird. And then you do get rushed by a dark sorcerer with a bunch of little buggy guys.
Yeah, like bats, I guess.
Oh yeah, they're little glowy bats.
Yeah, and Sarah was like, oh no, the monsters of the cave won't attack us, and then they immediately attack. And she's like, oh, well, I'm just old grandma, what do I know?
Now, you do fight a lot of these dark sorcerers in this cave, and if you cast magic on them, they will do, like, they'll not only do their attack, but they'll also do, like, the same magic you used against them, against you.
Yeah, it's
And
like counter, but with magic.
But if you don't attack them, there's a 50-50 chance they won't attack at all. So you could just not attack them.
I mean, you have to eventually, but
Well,
I
but
do think
with weapons, you can use weapons.
The problem is they stand in the back row, so you have to get rid of everything else first.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of weird enemies. Like I liked the weird one that was like this pyramid head guy on little crab legs, and his head like had a big central eye. He was creepy.
Tall too. Yeah, I thought that was creepy as well. And his one attack basically would just one hit kill someone.
Yep. He had that one, and he also had like this curse attack, and like you just cast random things against you. So the bit with this dungeon is the bottom floor is all poison, and you'll sometimes get poison walking through it. Then the upper floors have pit traps that you can see if this little light moat follows you.
It's like a little firefly.
Yeah, if that little light firefly follows you, then you can sort of see the pits coming. Although I still fell through them anyways because I'm just bad at this game. But yeah, so but there's also like wind tunnels that will blow away the light motes that are following you. And there's some good treasure here. I got a couple of good I already got a good spell behind one of those wind traps. And there's also like another one of those tablets that you can't do anything with yet. And I was like, well, this must be something you have to come back for later, like a Legend of Zelda game.
Oh, I think I missed the tablet.
Because, there's one in the Crimson Forest, and there's one here. It's like a big sort of monolith thing, I guess. And, yeah. So you do find a second corpse, and this corpse leads to one of the best stories, I think, in the game.
It was creepy.
And one of the complaints people have about the stories is they seem mostly unrelated to the game. Like it could be anyone and they don't have anything to do with the story or the world. But the thing that happens actually, I think, definitely relates to how rats die in this game.
What?
I think remember we talked about this last episode and before, the rat with the flower growing out of it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about the tragedy of the Butcher General. What happens in it, Vanessa?
Okay, so Kime is doing his mercenary work, and he's working for this guy named the Butcher General. And the Butcher General's whole deal is committing war crimes. So he is not content to just defeat his enemies. He has to defeat basically he's like a Sith. He's like, you have to eliminate everyone, not just the men, the women, and the children. If you leave anyone alive in these communities that you're fighting, then they're just going to grow up and hate you and come after you. So what's best for peace ultimately is just like genocide. So he lives his life like this. Kime is like, you suck. Fuck you. And the general's like, what do you know?
He also says, like, hatred doesn't end just by killing people, because it'll be in the wind and the earth and the trees.
Yeah.
And he's like, you dummy, you can't talk to me like that. Get out of here.
Get out of here. You get gone. So one day the general goes to this town that has all of these red flowers blooming around it, and he burns it all to the ground and kills everyone. Then he's hanging out in his tent, and his hand starts to itch, and he takes a look at his hand, and little green stems are growing up out of it. And he's like, weird, I'm going to cut them off. He gets a razor, and he shaves them off, and as he shaves, they sound like dying people, like they sort of scream.
Moan.
Yeah.
It's gross.
It's super gross. But he doesn't tell anyone about it because he thinks that will make him seem weak, and then his army won't follow him anymore. He's super cowardly. So this continues, and it happens every night, and they're always in places where he can shave them off himself, so he never tells anyone. And he is losing sleep. He's just like tormented every evening, all evening, by these sprouts growing from originally just his hand and then all over his body. And until finally, one night, I guess he gets so overwhelmed by them that he just cannot shave anymore. And in the morning, his men go to find him, and all they find is like a pile of blooming flowers, like a big plant.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
And, well, there's like a monument saying like you can still, people whisper that you can still find his armor and stuff in there, buried in the mound of flowers.
Chaim goes back, and he says there's a flower garden there.
Yeah,
and there's like a little placard that explains this was once the general. And
I think I liked Sheep General better than Butcher General.
Butcher General was awful, and it was a creepy story, and I did not like it. But it was
I thought it was neat. Yeah. So you do find fireflies that sort of help. They will put shadows on the caves, on the pits in the cave, so that you can sort of see them. And you do walk by this room, and there's these little doggy guys. They're glowing a little bit green, and the kids are super freaked out. The kids are really freaked out in this cave, which is, I mean, it's natural. We're in a super scary cave full of monsters that are attacking them, so I don't see.
Yeah, but they're also like warrior children.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of strange to me. It drives home how much like they are just actually children who are being made to fight over and over again for their lives.
By their dance mom, Liram.
By their dance mom, Liram.
So you do fight a few of the monsters, and then they do keep respawning. So Chaim's like, you have to find their leader, and then you see this red one walking around, and you can try finding the red one, and you can steal a slot seed from this, but you have to steal a lot in this chunker, and it's very frustrating. Yeah,
the steal. The wiki I was reading says that it's always your chances of success at stealing are greater if you have a front row character do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
So what I did was I put steal on, for at least for the gate passes. I didn't get a chance to do this for the first, because basically the red leader will run away after you damage it enough, and then you have to fight it again. So you can take the slot seed in the first fight by stealing it. But I didn't do that. It's okay. There's other slot seeds in the game. I didn't miss
Hey guys,
one.
I have a question.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Liram was the daughter of two immortals.
Mm-hmm.
Was she not an immortal?
She was not. She's dead.
She was not. Yeah.
And the kids are not immortals.
That's correct.
They didn't grow up under Krypton's green sun or whatever.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I was curious about that as I was going through the chunker, but it didn't seem to make sense to me. But I guess maybe we'll learn more.
Yeah, because there's some information you get at the end of this chunker that does suggest like a Final Fantasy IX kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Like there's a voice on the other side of a radio, and they start talking about a different world, and we'll get there when we get there. A spoiler for the end of this chunker. So you do see them. You make your way through the rest of this dungeon, and you get to the end point. And you are fighting this leader. It runs away once. You can fight it again. I did not for this chunker, not for this part, but for the experimental staff at the end. I did put steal on Chaim and Seth, and that helps a lot if all three of them. But as soon as I did that, suddenly Jansen would steal every time, and they wouldn't. So I don't know what's happening.
But at least this game just seems like artificially difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that if they want stealing to be a thing, it shouldn't be so rare to work properly.
Yeah.
Basically. So you do kill the red thing. Oh, the red thing has a couple of annoying moves. It has pheromones, which makes one of the green guys fall in love with it and the rest get super jealous, which is good. The rest won't attack you. They'll only attack the other guy by throwing rocks at it. But the one guy will rush you and do 900 damage, which can kill most of the mortal
Yoink.
characters.
Yeah, and the jealous ones only do like 9 damage with their rocks.
Yeah. So you have to sort of take out the one that's got the infatuation quickly, or else he can one hit kill. And I was just dying over and over to this because I was trying the first version of the fight, because I was trying to steal from the red monster and it just kept failing over and over and over and over again. I was getting really annoyed, but it's fine. So you kill the red thing and they get out of the black cave, and they're wondering what could have caused this to happen to the monsters and why they were because this didn't used to be a dangerous place. But you exit the cave to the lovely town of Saman. Vanessa, what happens? What's your first impression of Saman when you get there?
Saman looks like it is having a very good Halloween party. It's nighttime, there's lots of candles, and the windows are all lit up, and the kids get freaked out because one of them looks like a face, kind of smiling.
I thought that
you.
was going to be a plot point.
Me too.
It isn't.
Nope. They're just like, it looks like a face. And then this town is full of cool and interesting people, like automobiles that talk to you. And you can go around and talk to these cars, and they're like, vroom, vroom, yeah, I'm a car. There is a crow that will sell you various items.
For cheap?
For cheap, for like 50 gil each, but it doesn't really know what the items are, so you have to be like, I want this one, I want that thing, I want this other thing.
And I think at least the first time through, you can get some good items for each of those. And that are worth way more than 50 gil. But I love this talking crow. I love this town. I gotta admit, this town is great.
It's great. There is a talking cat. There are some creepy children. There's a doll
talking
sitting
cat?
on yeah. There's a doll sitting on a swing that's like, hey, I love to swing.
And I love how ominous the kids are. Like, the kids are all like saying, "You'll die up there."
Yeah, they're like, we can't.
And they're all
wait to be
described
dead."
as like off-putting child.
Yeah. Then there's your favorite guy, Johnny, the man in love with a doll.
He's wonderful. He's got a doll, and he's like, his wife's like, he just keeps talking that stupid doll. There's nothing I can do. And there's a doll floating next to him. He's like, I love you. I've never loved anyone else like I love you.
He's like Charles Grodin with Miss Piggy up in there.
And there is a way to grow to Goatsy, but for whatever reason, the mysterious power that's affecting the town is also sealed the only way through the ice cave to get to Goatsy.
Yeah. And so they're like, well, that's just great. And the people sort of mention like lights coming off the ocean.
And if you try to leave the town, you do run into a guy who's like, hey, we're going to pilot a ship and try and figure out what's going on with the town, but we can't find the captain. And can you find the captain? So I was like, okay, I'll check the bar. No,
That's where I checked first too.
There's a broken jukebox.
Where do you find a sailor but a bar?
It's true. I checked the rich guy's house. He was not stealing the rich guy's gold. I checked the guy with the doll's house. He wasn't there. And then I was like, wait a minute. Maybe he's back at the hotel. The spooky hotel. And there's someone waiting in front of the bathroom. And if you talk to that guy, he's like, I'm just waiting. This guy's been here forever. And they're like, well, if the captain's trying to hide, maybe he's hiding in the poop room.
The poop room.
So the poop deck. So they knock on the door and they're like, time to ship off, Captain. And he comes right out. It's not that difficult, actually, to get him
But you
out of
do
there.
hear the sound of a toilet flush, which made me laugh. And one thing that Artie noticed, or it was either Artie or Moose noticed, is that this game uses stock sound effects They don't have their own sound effects, so like you can recognize a lot of them from animes and stuff, and like the stock toilet flush. It's pretty fun. Like all the spell effects are sort of canned. Suikoden did the same thing.
That's super fun.
Yeah, I always like that. And I feel like there was another story here. Well,
there was this story about the guy with the shoes.
Oh yeah, that one was good. So
it was good. Yeah.
There is an old guy who he made shoes, and he made the bestest shoes in the world, but he was very rude. He didn't really want to talk to customers. He just wanted to talk to their shoes and then like wish them a good journey, give them a good sniff so he could smell where they've been. And you find out about midway through the stories because he doesn't have legs. A childhood illness made him lose his legs. And so he can never wear shoes, but he does make them for everyone else. And he's like, yeah, my sons are going on journeys for me. But he doesn't have any sons. He doesn't have any family. His sons are the shoes. And Kaim is his favorite customer because it turns out that Kaim was the one who got him into the shoe business in the first place by telling him about his journeys. And then the guy was like, wow, that's amazing. I want to go on these journeys, but I can't because I don't have legs. So what I'll do is make shoes for everyone. And he trained around the world to be the bestest shoe guy with the most comfortable shoes. And he could tell where you'd been from listening to the sound of your soles hitting the floor. And he makes one more pair of shoes for Kaim. He's like, well, hey, when are you coming back? Kaim's like 2 years or so. He's like, well, might not be around, so I'm going to make another pair of shoes for them to put on me when I die. And they're going to be just like yours. And he's like, cool, that's fine with me. And he comes back and he puts his worn shoes, because everyone gives the worn shoes back to the shoe man, and everyone puts the worn shoes back on the shoe man's grave. And the shoe man's grave has the same epitaph as he says to everyone when he gives them their shoes, which is like, may your journey be full of luck or something.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it is.
It was something like that. And because this is the first time he's been on a journey, so he's happy to go. And there's lots of shoes piled up around him because of his shoe fetish. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He loves
and once
sniffing
again,
them.
we have a story about someone dying, which tends to be Kaim's thing.
Well, yeah, because that's what all these stories are about. Life and death. And someone who cannot die, which the story reminds you every time that Kaim cannot die. It's like, yeah, we know. You don't have to mention it every story. But death is something I cannot know because I am cursed to wander for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we get it, Kaim.
Kind of like preoccupied, but it makes sense that like these are his strongest memories because it's what means the most to him is the idea that someone's life could end and they would be somewhere else or just not here, not in their same form. So the other thing you can find in this town is this very rich man, and he just has all of his money in the middle of his living room floor, and he's looking at it and he's like, I love money. Yeah, ha, 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 ha. And you can sort of go around his house and just like taking other stuff out of his drawers and things, and he won't move. And eventually you find his safe and it's open and appears to be mostly empty because he's put all his money on the floor. And in the safe you can find a ledger that says that it proves that he has been smuggling. And you can tuck that away for later.
What do you do with it?
You tuck it away for later. We'll find out what you do with it next time on Square Roots. And that's our episode. Oh, no, wait. So, with the captain in tow, we are able to enter the docks. And I think we're sort of going there with the intention of using the ship to get to that town we're trying to go to. But they have other plans.
They're like, well, you're super strong, so like, why don't you come with us and like investigate why this town's so messed up? And I'm like, well, I kind of like the town. I don't want it to go back to normal. Although I guess seeing like the guy with the doll apologizing profusely to his wife would be funny. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like the town the way it is.
Yeah,
it's got character.
It's just fun. It's like Halloween Town.
Yeah. I love spooky towns in these dumb games like Nasidia and Final Fantasy IV and what was this? Oh, I guess Zozo. in Final Fantasy VI. Anyway, but we agree, and we're like, well, we got to get to Goatsy somehow, so we need to get a boat. And so, yeah, sure, we'll help.
Now whenever you say it just sticks out like a sore thumb. I can't not hear it.
So everyone packs onto the boat, and it's sea time, and you're just there, just staring out at the sea, and suddenly the ship is overrun by Mantalas, and Jansen's
These things look super cool.
Hey, there's no room. We're at maximum occupancy. Sorry, you'll have to come back later. Zany things. And
I love him so much. I just I try to fight it because he is content warning Jansen, but I can't help it. I really like him.
Did you like how he called him Lord Eyebrow? Called Lord Eyebrows.
He has another line. Like a lot of Jansen's lines are kind of like under his breath, or they're under another character talking. And he has one at the end of the chunker that I'll talk about, but it's a groaner. It's bad.
So you do fight these Mantalas. There's like a queen one in the back that you gotta kill. But it keeps going into the water, and so you only get like a second to damage it because it'll refill the front row. So, but normally you should be able to one hit kill all these guys, and then the magic that you've used that round should hit the queen when it comes back. That's sort of how I did it. And just took a few rounds. It wasn't a super tough fight. Once again, it does seem like the boss fights are on a sliding scale of difficulty, where they started really hard in this game and then have not been challenging any point of this too.
I did have some trouble with things in the cave, like just normal fights going through there, and including those like chompy things that come out. And it was kind of irritating because Kaim has a line of like, oh, these things, they're not difficult to fight, but, they keep coming. And I'm like, they are difficult to fight, Kaim.
You just gotta use wind attacks on them. They die in one hit.
What?
Because they're ground elements, those things in the cave.
Maybe I wasn't doing that.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you have the status, someone who can tell status and hit points and stuff, because it's good to see what the elemental affinity of the enemies are, so you can just do the persona thing and hit them with the correct one. So you all see a light on the horizon, a weird shining light, and then suddenly Seth gets another dream, and this one relates even more closely to the story of the game. And it's about Aneira again. Vanessa, what happens in Seth's dream 2?
It's very sad, but also very revealing.
Because through this, I was like, is Aneira a dragon or not a dragon? That is my number one question.
Well, we still don't know. Spoiler. So, yeah, you had assumed Aneira was a dragon immediately, and I never got that impression from the stories. So Seth talks about how she was sort of living her life, and then she had a son, who is named
Sed,
yeah. Which is what she was talking about. The name she was saying earlier that we didn't understand why. So she's like, yeah, I had a son, sort of in my own way. The father wasn't really important, but she did it. And she gave the son to sort of Aneira to help raise into a strapping young piratey lad. And she's going about her life, and then she says something about her memories coming back after 1,000 years and realizing that it was time for her to go home back to her own world.
What?
I know, it's like,
Whoa.
What? And she's like, so I went to the Tower of Mirrors, which is where I was going to go back, and Gongora was there, and he's the guy who I was going to travel back to my home world with. And it seems to be pretty clear that she's not talking about, like, a different continent or something like that. She's talking about a home world.
Mm-hmm.
So Gongora tells her that he's not going to go back, and it sort of becomes like fuzzy. Like it's not really clear what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
But she runs back to her ship, and she sees her wingy friend with her son's leg right in those chompers. He's chomped it right off.
Oh, okay. So does the what do you think this proves about Aneira's anatomy, one way or the other?
I think Aneira is a bipedal bird man.
Okay.
That's what it seemed like to me.
A sharp
too.
little beak and fluffy bird wings.
Okay. Because it got a mouth big enough that it can rip off a leg of a child, and the child's like bleeding out there. But then the child's like, "No, mom, don't do it." But the mom like feels she's like, "I don't know what I said. I don't know if I was asking why." But like then it was just all a blur, and then I wake up. And my sword is in Aneira. Aneira is dead. I'm heartbroken. My child is passed out from the blood loss. And Gongora is there. And Gongora is like, yeah, you totally killed Aneira. Dum-dum.
Mm-hmm. Idiot. And she's like, no, I didn't. I wouldn't do that. And he's like, you did, though. You totally did.
And the story starts off with Seth saying, I hope you hate me, because at least that keeps our connection going. Seth obviously feels very guilty about killing her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is another torture, the torture of losing a loved one.
Yeah, and she's sort of like, why did you do it? I don't understand what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But Gongora was there, and I hate him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's real pissed off. Poor Sed.
Then come this bright white light, and everyone sort of gets knocked out, passes out, goes unconscious.
And they wake up, and the ship's kind of smashed into the pier of
Ship ran into the pier.
Another staff.
I like that. So Seth is the last person to wake up, and she wakes up, and Jensen immediately starts heckling her about sleeping so long, and she's like, "Shut up!"
Yeah,
that was great. And so they're like, "Well, I guess this is the island, so we should probably investigate this." And the captain's like, "Yeah, we'll stay here. You kids have fun." Literal children going to a very dangerous staff, and you do walk into the staff. It's a lot like the Grand Staff, but a little bit different. You get inside, and then there's some helpful workers who are just expositioning you.
Yeah, they're
like...
just having a conversation that's like, hey, isn't it interesting that we're here dismantling this experimental staff, which is infused with magic, which is impacting the villagers nearby, but we're not going to do anything about that. We're just going to dismantle it and take it to Grand Staff to do the repairs there. Oh,
Yeah.
we're taking it to Grand Staff?
Yeah, we gotta take it to Grand Staff. They both have voices like this. And we're
do.
gonna
They
take
have
it to
very
Grand Staff
strange
because
voices.
Gongora wants the power, and he wants the power from here to make Grand Staff even more powerful. Yeah. Well, I'm not asking any questions.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Wayne's World when they run into Chris Farley's bouncer character.
Yes.
And he explains the whereabouts and the motivations of like all of the other characters in the movie.
It's so wonderful. So they do fill us in on what this big staff is. And this is a big dungeon with a lot of annoying areas if you want to get all the treasure, where you have to like move a thing and then move a thing one way and then go do a thing, but then go back and do it again. And it just takes like, to get this one treasure took like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. It's all moving platforms and levers and cranes to raise and lower platforms and
Pushing boxes off the side of the experimental staff. There are these gates too, and these gates require a gate pass, which Jansen says, I bet you could steal them off of the soldiers if we run into any guards here. Now, I wasn't sure, do you have to steal one is it does the gate pass work over and over, or is it one per gate?
It's
'Cause
one
I was assuming...
per gate, I believe.
Okay, I assumed that, and so I kept stealing them, but I wasn't sure if I was stealing them for any reason or not.
I assumed it would be one gate pass. You have your gate pass, and then you can go through the gates, but that is not the case.
Ah, okay. Now, if you don't get enough gate passes, you do get a chance to get some of them that you missed at the end, because you have like 12 minutes to leave the staff. We'll get there. But it's not hard to steal. Just make sure you put steal on Kym, Mac, or Seth in the front row, and they'll have more luck than Jansen. Although, again, once I did that, Jansen succeeded every time, but it's only after I gave steal to other people. So, I don't know, this game is just being a jerk.
Jansen's sort of an insecure guy, so it's like he sees someone, because he's like, leave it to me, I can steal anything. And then once he sees other people doing it, he's like, oh, I guess I really have to step up my game. I just, I thought I was special because I could do this, but he's not that special.
There's some magic absorbing buddies that are like the ones we saw at the other staff, the ones with the worm that would charge up the worm. They're those with those little baubles attached to them. You know what I'm talking about. And then there's a soldier in like a little flying scooter, and there's just regular guards. There's some fun combat here, but this does just take a while to get all your bibs and bobs. And we slowly make our way to the top of the tower. Did you do the side quest of talking to the series of experimental staff workers so that you get a prize at the end, which is just some crafting items?
No, I talked to one or two of them, and they were like, you're not supposed to be here. Get the heck out.
Yeah, you have to talk to them in the right order. You have to talk to the chief, and he's like, oh, tell this other guy to do something. And you talk to him. He's like, well, no, tell the other guy to do it. He's up near the top of the tower. And so, like, right before the final battle, there's a little ladder you can take to go talk to him, and he gives you some, like, crafting supplies. And I did get to, I think it's that you get the super powerful bruiser ring, or, like, the next stage of the bruiser ring. That's what I got. You can craft that. I've been crafting all sorts of rings.
Me too. There's some mechanical enemies in this dungeon, and you can craft hacker rings and jammer rings to deal with their mechanical business. It's cool.
I found a discus and like a super powerful ring to go with the discus. This is for Mac. That had some cool abilities.
Oh yeah, I found that too.
Yeah. So you get to the top, and who do we see there muttering to himself? Oh, and also, well, we get a little cutaway scene of him. So he's at the top of the tower, and he's at like what looks like sort of a radar station at the top of the tower, and he's talking to someone. And it's
wait. There's a couple things that happen first. You see Gongora when you're on like a catwalk. And for some reason, the kids and Jansen decide to like heckle him from far away.
It's weird.
I think Cook calls him a poo-poo pants, and this is where Jansen's terrible line I mentioned earlier was, where he yells. I'm pretty sure this is verbatim. He says,
"Good job."
He said, "You're proof that you don't need a brain to walk."
Oh, God.
It's like, come on, man.
I also thought this was a very strange choice because they're kind of trying to be sneaky. At least I thought they were. But then they're just like, hey, yeah, look at us, we're up here.
But the thing is, Gongora then ignores them and doesn't go after them.
No, he like stumbles to what you were saying earlier, to this central area. I don't even really know what's going on here.
He doesn't seem to be doing great.
No, he's not. He's acting very strangely. He can't walk straight. And we'll see later he's hearing some voices that are saying, it's time to come back. And he's like, I won't go back.
And he starts talking to them, too, on this radio thing. And they're like, yeah. He's like, no, I won't be coming back. He's like, no, it's about time. But then he, like, was he crush a magic apple or something? He, like, recharges something that makes him back to normal. Because he does seem to be dying.
I don't know what's going on with him. Something.
Earth's yellow sun juice?
Earth's yellow sun juice is finally juicing him.
And okay, so Seth does say that she is going to kill Gongora, blaming him for the. Well, I don't. You say death of the son, but I'm not. The story specifically says the son doesn't die. But Aneira's died. Yeah, the son was unconscious.
Oh, I thought that the kid was dead.
I'm getting a suspicion that the game's moving like it sort of implies it, but it never actually says it. So I think we might be seeing some Sed. Because it was only 30 years ago that Sed was a kid.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wait, who do you think Sed is?
Seth's son.
Gotta be.
Oh, well, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
Are you saying that he's a character that we've met already or no?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. You're saying that you think we'll run into him.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Has to be someone with one leg.
Yes, for sure.
Maybe he's a one-legged pirate.
Maybe.
Maybe he was the shoe guy.
So Seth is very mad, and Kaim's like, hey, don't forget Gongora's immortal, right? You can't kill him. And Gongora's like, yeah, I didn't kill Aneira. You killed Aneira, and your son's unholy presence drove Aneira mad, and then I was there. You totally killed Aneira.
Yeah. And Seth's like, no. You are a lie.
And Sarah's like, so why did we come here in the first place? And I guess implying that we're Kryptonians, right?
Yeah, something's going on.
Gongora's like, oh, so you don't have your full memories back after all. So you don't even know why we're here and what we're doing. And are we the baddies? Is this a Final Fantasy IX situation? Is the voice from the radio, is that a Garland telling Gongora what to do? And then Gongora's going to kill Garland just like, what's his face did?
Maybe.
You know, who was the name of Speedo Thong Boy? Kuja did, yeah.
Speedo Thong Boy.
Remember the metallic thong? Didn't he have a metallic thong just like
He
Beatrix?
did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a
I hope
nice
Gongora
feather in
gets
his
one.
hair. But, Gongora is a known liar, so I wouldn't put too much stock in anything he says.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure that everything Gongora has said up to this point has been a lie. He's told to another character. I don't think he said anything that's true.
Yeah, I like that though, that he's kind of just a big old liar. So Jansen's like, whatever, dude, here's the money you pay me. I'm going to throw in your face, except I won't, because I kind of want to keep it. It's money.
His taunts are embarrassing. I was embarrassed for him.
And
Vanessa and I were talking about this. I'm embarrassed for Jansen when he's taunting.
And then he turns
does
around.
an amazing job.
He turns around and starts waggling his butt at Gongora. He's like, "Oh, do you want this? What are you going to do about this?" And
Gongora's
like,
line, you have to say it verbatim. It's so good. He goes, like I care about that.
He's protesting too much. He sees that beautiful
Yeah.
twink boy butt, and he's like, like I care about that sweet, those hams, those tight hams.
It did make me wonder about the nature of their relationship, that Jansen thought that Gongora would be
Well,
miffed by.
I do get gay vibes from Gongora, and I know it's part of it's the Freddie Mercury design choices that they made, who is a quite a famous queer person.
Mm-hmm. So
famously bisexual.
Maybe that's the case, yeah.
Yeah. So
I feel like Jansen has to be bisexual too. I'm sorry.
Could be.
You can't be that horny on Maine all the time and just stick to one gender.
So Gongora says
He
that
wears a little
Jansen.
scarf. For God's
That's
sake.
true. He does wear. So for all these cutscenes, Vanessa, what choices have you been making to accent the cutscenes with your favorite accessories?
I have Kaim wearing a beautiful little sort of looks like 5 buttons stacked on top of each other hair clip. And it's like pink and blue, and it's just lovely, and I think he looks great.
Is it? Yeah, that's that little barrette thing. Oh, I love that one. I think that I might use that for the episode art. this time because it's so pretty, and that barrette thing is so big that it shows up in all the not just in the cutscenes, but when you're just walking around town, you can see it on Kai.
Yeah, I love
great.
That. I think it makes him look very good.
But for this battle, I did have the big dangly going out for a night on the town earrings.
Mm-hmm.
They're wonderful. I had the barrette on Seth.
I love that you can see the accessories. It's great.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I just unlocked an ability with Jansen that he can wear two at once. So we're going to have some matching going on here.
He's going to look so good.
Mm-hmm. Jim,
did
you wear any
2 sets of earrings at once though?
Maybe. Are you going to wear any beautiful accessories for these cutscenes?
Definitely earrings. The earrings stand out, I think.
Yeah. The earrings and the sunglasses. I love having Kai in his Jamiroquai sunglasses so much. Makes me love all the cutscenes. So, Gongora's like, hey, Jansen, you're a traitor, so you're going to fit in with these 4 other losers. You don't even know who you're traveling with. You don't know what these people are here for. And they've all betrayed their goal here on the planet. And then he decides to, fight, I guess? Or Seth just wants to fight. At any rate, you fight him. The music here is amazing, but it has the most distracting cowbell. Did you notice the cowbell in this song?
Tink, tink. No, I didn't.
It's got Queen guitar. It's like an epic boss battle song with these Queen multi-track guitars. But then it'll the guitars will go off, and then there's just a cowbell solo for about 10 seconds. Where it's ding 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 ding. It's bizarre, but it's a great track. I recommend listening to it.
Gongora also says that weird thing of that he has a fever and the only cure is more cowbell. It's very strange.
Maybe that's something to do with the planet he's from?
Yeah, must be.
Oh, John, you're right. There is a weird cowbell track. It's very strange. It sounds like something out of a Mario game.
Yeah, it doesn't fit with the rest of the song at all. The rest of the song is amazing. It's such a good boss fight track. Ding 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 ding. So he doesn't really fight back here. You can do tons of damage. You can't, even if you have all the status viewer options attached to you, you can't see his hit points. So I was like, oh, this is not going to be a boss fight we're going to win, is it? And you're attacking him. He does have Forsuga that he uses. That's pretty rough. And he sort of taunts you in various ways as you attack him. He's like, what are you doing? You know you can't kill me.
Yeah, it's you can't kill me. You don't know how to use magic. If you have Jansen cast a spell on him, he's like, lol. Dummy.
It's you don't understand what's happening here, and you don't know why you're fighting me, so just stop. And then eventually he does something called rage quit or something. Ring fit.
He rage quits.
Yeah. So he just slams down the controller, and a bright light flashes, and everybody is knocked unconscious. We do get. Meanwhile, so all these people are passed out on the floor, and who should walk in but Prince Sparklepony?
I like how this character, whenever he enters a scene, he's usually just sheepishly poking his head into the room. It's very silly.
I'm kind of curious. Is he going to have an arc where he's murdered by? I feel like he knows what's up by the end of this chunker. So maybe his arc is more about becoming powerful and a leader.
I still think he's going to join our party.
Because he does so he sees all these children dead on the floor. It's like, dude, what's happening?
He's like, why is the Queen of Nomura here on the ground?
And Gongora's like, there were a bunch of assassins here sent to kill me.
Nomura was gonna invade. He's like, well, why would the Queen be here? And
I love Gongora's deflection here, because the Prince boy is like, he's like, why is the Queen of Nomura here? And he's like, is that really what you came here to ask me? And he's like, well, no, I guess.
No, I didn't even know that she was here.
He's like, there's a couple of children here. He's like, none of them can be allowed to live, even the children, for attempting to attack me. And he's like, I don't know about this one. Like he for once he's not like, Lord Gongora is my bestest friend. He's like, dude, you're killing the Queen of Nomura and children and telling me they're assassins. Even I'm not buying this one, and I'm Prince Sparklepony.
Yeah, but then Gongora's like, come on, Prince Sparklepony, let's get out of here. And he's like, okay, sparkle away. By the way, it is King Sparklepony now. He has been elevated to king.
You're right, sorry. So I guess he sets the staff to auto-destruct. Do you think does he warn the rest of the people working there that the staff's going to explode?
Probably not. I don't think he really gives a shit about any of that.
So they're like having their lunch breaks. Oh, did you see the latest blitzball game? Oh, God. What's happening? Oh, God. Why weren't we warned? We're just contractors.
As they get crushed by rafters falling on them.
Yeah, and then Gongora's like, you're gonna sink to the bottom of the ocean with this experimental staff, and then you're gonna be forever on the bottom of the ocean, which I guess means, like, they would, like, drown, and then as soon as they wake up again, they just instantly drown again.
Ooh, that sounds bad. That's a nightmare. That's worse than being chained to a boulder.
It is.
So they do, you do cut to Cook and Mac lying in darkness. Like it's a black box theater moment. They're just there, nothing around them. And then suddenly light starts swirling around them and they wake up and they see.
Don't they like, I think it's Mac that has a little bag around his neck and the bag starts to glow and then the thing flies out of the bag, right?
Yeah. Was that something he collected when he brought the flowers?
Did he put his mom's ashes in there?
I don't know. But it does fly around them, and they see a vision of their mother waking them up. So their mother is not letting them die because she's very powerful and bossy. She's like, no, I am your fight, Mom. You're going to keep fighting, and you're going to make it to nationals. You're not going to disappoint me this time, children. And they wake up and then they start waking everyone else up. And so this is where there's some really sweet scene because they wake up Kaim and Kaim immediately rushes to wake up Sarah. And she's like, oh, the children. And is this Lirum? Because they see like the magic floating around them. And then Jansen wakes up and he like looks over to the women. He's like, and then it just like zooms out and Seth is being helped up by Ming, and I don't know what was the point of that reaction. I didn't quite get what did he think that they were into each other and didn't need him?
No, I think that he is like really smitten with Ming. So he wakes up and he's like, Ming, are you okay? And he's like reaching out and then she's just like having a conversation with Seth.
Yeah, she's like holding hands with Seth and making sure she's okay. Mm-hmm. But they're like, well, I guess we got 12 minutes to get out of this tower because it's falling apart. And here you can, if you didn't get enough gate passes, you can get some of that gate pass treasure. But you should probably make your way out quickly. I did pick up a cool sword on the way down. A cool sword and some other things. And then, you leave. And as you're leaving, you do get another cutscene very quickly of Gongora, like, laughing to himself. He's like on the
he's maniacally laughing on the deck of the ship. And King Sparklepony is just like poking his head out looking at him.
Like
normally a good person doesn't laugh maniacally like this.
Yeah, it's a straight up evil laugh.
I feel like maybe Gongora isn't my best friend.
That can't be. So yeah, and we jump on our ship, and the experimental staff falls into the sea behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of this chunker, and the end of Disc 2.
Yay! We're halfway through this game. I'm at 22 hours. Now, the game originally did have some crazy load times, like every fight would take a minute to load.
Whoa.
So now that it's not got those load times, maybe the game's going to be much faster, because I'm at 22 hours, and I'm doing most of the side stuff. But it seems like it's not going to be a 60-hour game.
Yeah, usually with these like multi-disc RPGs, the last disc is just ending and final fight type stuff.
I don't know how far I am into this game, because it does this weird thing on the Xbox One where if you just put it in rest mode and don't exit the game first, it keeps counting. So right now it's like, you're at 68 hours. And I'm like,
it
well,
does
I'm
that with
definitely not.
older games. The older games don't know to stop counting play hours when it goes into rest mode, or when you put it into when you hibernate the game or switch to a different app or something. So it keeps going.
But on mine, it never the sleep mode's disabled on it for some reason, so it always starts at the menus. I just have to make sure that I save.
I think, John, with my experience with this game is if I turn my Xbox off, if I'm playing Lost Odyssey, turn my Xbox off and then go back to Lost Odyssey, it'll pick up. But if I switch to another game, I can't quick resume Lost Odyssey.
Okay. So it'll sleep, but it won't. Yeah, that's fine. I just save anyway. So
but it'll close if you go to another game.
So that's the end of the chunker. So next, let me figure out where we're gonna play to next time.
Vanessa already got it.
Oh, you do?
I already got it.
Thanks, Vanessa.
I picked a suggestion, and I think it's a pretty good one.
Ooh, when we arrive back at Ura. So, were there any bullshit mini games this time? There's definitely Find the Kilolons for me, but Vanessa talked about that last time.
I guess just sort of the gate pass stuff and moving platforms around to find treasures.
When you have to push those boxes off. That was more of a puzzle, though. Yeah,
it's a puzzle. So, no, I guess there are no bullshit minigames.
What was your favorite story of the chunker?
Oh, I guess I would have to say it's the Butcher General. Even though
that was a really good
disturbing.
one.
That was a great one, actually. I liked it.
Not the loser with the family.
Not the loser with the family. No, that one was sort of just like, okay.
Although I do really want to know what Aneira is.
Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna,
we will eventually.
I was doing some Googling, and everyone seems to not know what Aneira is. So I don't know that there's a reveal.
Aneira is a dragon.
Fan theory. I think that Aneira is a figment of Seth's imagination.
I was thinking that too, but I don't know. Gongora's seen Aneira and talked about Aneira. And Sed would know if we do get to run into Sed. I guess we'll know one way or the other about that, right?
Yeah, if that kid has 2 legs, Aneira was made up all the time.
Or Seth chewed off one of his legs.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Aneira's like Seth's dark side.
Yeah, it's a fight club.
It's a fight club.
Did we get any emails?
Yes. And I will read it to you now.
Okay.
Here is an email from Tabumpkins. Tabumpkins says, all us scooters know the Square Roots house loves a celebration, and what better to celebrate than the 25th anniversary of Pokemon? Now, excuse my geriatric millennial brain, but I don't remember all y'all's stances / history with the Pokemon franchise. But even if you think it's a baby game for babies, there is the Nuzlocke Run, a self-imposed hard mode that is fun for all. Tabumpkins then lays out the rules of the Nuzlocke run, which I won't get into because there are a few of them, but really encourages us to play the Nuzlocke run and suggests that it could be a friendly competition between the hosts, who will progress the farthest, who would have the least amount of deaths, who would name the most Pokemon after Raul Esparza characters, and who will make it to the Elite Four in only their underwear. That's what the bumpkins has to say. It's not really a question, but I'm going to extract one from it anyway and say, how y'all feel about them Pokemons? You like Pokemons?
I've never actually played any of the Pokemon games. I've played the fighting one a lot with Jalen, and we did the Let's Go Eevee. We played that together a bit on the Switch, but I've never sat down and played a Pokemon game from beginning to end ever.
I've played Pokemon Go, and I think I've played just like a little bit here and there of the regular Pokemon games, but not enough to really talk about them. And I have always been Pokemon Snap curious, but I know the new one came out. I was watching
Snap curious.
I was watching some gameplay footage of it, and it didn't look like it was all that. So that's my feelings about the games. My feelings about the Pokemons themselves is that Psyduck is the only Pokemon worth talking about, and I will give no quarter to any other Pokés.
I have Soul Silver and the Pokewalker. It's the only Pokemon game I bought. I was like, okay, I'll try this Pokemon. It was like 2005 or 2006. And I never really played it. So I still have all the like original packaging and the Pokewalker and the cartons in fine, perfect condition. I have everything. And I found out like a complete copy of that's worth quite a bit. Let me actually go to price charting. A lot of games are going crazy up in value because of the pandemic and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's good to like look and see. I kind of want to go through all our collections. I think that would be a fun bonus episode. We go through our collections and see what game we have that ends up actually being worth the most as like a competition.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great bonus episode. But I have to do Metal Gear. Jim, we forgot to tell you that our idea for bonus episodes now is that everyone's going to be boss of one bonus episode.
We just like rotate, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be Vanessa, Matt, me, then you. So you'll be September.
I thought Vanessa. It was October.
I thought it was October too, but I'm wrong. It's September. I forgot that July
Can I have October?
Yeah, sure. Then we can do an extra month. That is our price charting month.
I'm Vanessa.
I want to do Spooky Month.
Vanessa. Okay, let's see. Pokemon Soul Silver version. I'm curious. Sorry about this, friends. Complete in box is $130. So that's definitely a bonus. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've been buying. I bought most of the DS RPGs that came out because I was like, you know what, these are probably going to be worth something someday because no one buys RPGs for DS. And I think I was right on that one.
Wow. Good job. Good investing.
I like, what happened here? Jim's names did they all get moved or what?
I might have accidentally leaned on my computer and put a whole bunch of space in there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of line breaks.
But I haven't really played a Pokemon. Do you think that doing a special version of Pokemon would be a fun bonus episode where we all do like a challenge run like this for a few hours and see how we do?
It's something that's accessible.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of like, there's carts and stuff. I have old Pokemon carts I could give Vanessa.
What if we play Pokemon Snap though?
Ooh, yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, we should do something this year about Pokemon. We'll figure it out, maybe. We're definitely doing a Pokemon game at one point. But we do have a Patreon. And speaking of bonus episodes, if you pay $3 a month, you can hear every single bonus episode we have made. They're all on our Patreon, and there's a lot of really fun ones. Vanessa's doing a super surprise one for this month, so get ready for that. We don't know what it is, so we're all very excited.
Jim is scared.
A little nervous. I'm a little nervous.
For $5 a month, you can vote. Yeah, the next game will not be a vote, but the game after that will also not be a vote. But the game after that is going to be a vote. So, yeah, get ready for that. You can switch to, as Matt said last time, if you switch to $3 a month until then, we won't blame you. Don't worry about it. Anyway, no matter what you give us, for $1 a month or more, we will read your name as a thank you for being a Patreon of us, the Square Roots Podcast. So, Jim, who are you going to thank?
I would like to thank BTS's Cute Boy Maximum Security Penitentiary, Ward Childress, Anthony Orbison, Michael Crawford, Jerry Schruffler, Chris Wilder, Adam Zimmerman, the Ben with 1,000 Years of Hats, Robert J. Defendi, Miguel Torres, Sergeant Spaghetti, Andrew Leinart, Rubber Bear has lived 1,000 years in the last 18 months.
Who hasn't?
Tom, Wash in the Wind, Aaron Bachman, I am immortal. I have inside me blood of Came. A chili dog that you don't know is a chili dog. Joshua Bennett, Cameron Shoei, Verbatime Burger Time. I know you want me to get lost, but you Odyssey these nuts. That's a good one. Lauren Prince, Paul Bursch, Devin Sloan, Tracy Grayson, Kingdom Farts Poo, Knopford, Tyler Crump, Vanessa's Gold Taco Bell PS5, Ian Frederick. I've come to realize that the ring system, it's very much the same practices to use when fisting. No, that's good.
What?
Huh.
What?
All right. Christopher Hines, Ethan G. Pearson, Ari Corpivara, Joseph, Ryan Miller, Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021. Vanessa's mom says suck it. Habs in 6.
Wow.
Justin Rash, don't forget to fill the pea pot with your seed. Adam H. DP 2099. Justin Ham, Andy Best, Ross Hartley, welcome to Cute Boy Jail Honk Honk, and Jack Mazzell.
I'm sitting here thinking, who is playing Adele music? Because we're going to get a DMA on Spotify. I realized it's my own phone that after leaning on the computer to mess up the show notes, I've leaned on my phone and Adele music starts playing. And it was very beautiful. You know, there's a background to Jim reading the Patreon names. So someone wants to sing that. It was Turning Tables by Adele while I read the names. Or, listeners, just put this on one audio platform and then play Adele on the other one. You'll get my experience. Here I go.
Tables facing one way, tables
John
facing
Scala,
another
Tracy
way.
the Borg Queen, Joshua
I don't know
W.
that song.
Broxton, Soy Soda Pop, Icy Wieners, Eric Garby, Nathan Poirot, Florian Jonas Kramer, the RPG Luminary, Still Just Came's Unguarded Kidneys, Fresh Ice, Sean Hudson Roth, Port Lost Odyssey to PC, gosh darn it, Amanda Douglas, Brian Pitt, Go Cry Wolf, Do Good Recklessly. You know who else is bad at games? My mom. And my mom always says that she's bad at video games. I don't think she is. She doesn't like a controller because the buttons do her confuse. But she likes to play like match 3 games on her iPad and whatnot. And those are games too. Huxley Iguana, Samu Mitchell, Matt is roundly for Ming's Roundly Twos, Citrus C, Matthew Casterline, Rolled Earth, Andy Smith, Dylan Rowe, Christian Go, Mixed a Batch, Alexander Jokic, CharityWater.org,
Mixed a
Georgia
Batch.
Brady, Hexagon, Found Iliad, Josh and Julio are the cutest, Mary Queen of Scoffs, David Green, Chief Hazard, Builder Robot of Kinky Sam Elliott, still hand the Square Roots team a Bad Dragon sponsorship. Thank you. Solomon Wagner, David Shook D's Nuts, Mostly Rational Person, Carson Clark, Dr. Fine Say Everyone's Name, Cyril the Wolf, I'm only doing this to vote for Kingdom Hearts 2, Jonathan Ellsworth, Alex Dillard, Touch My Keelon, Kevin Walter, and Stephen Paget.
I'd like to thank Andy, Aiden Marriott, Chris Ryan, Sean Walsh. Autistic people can speak for themselves, thanks. I agree. Every Vanessa's mom is a precious treasure. David Pascal, Robert T., Vanessa's ominously laughing mother. Gage La Charité, I'm Commander Squall, and this is my favorite store in the garden. Grey Code hails Jason Timms, Robert M. Pullum, Megan Sullivan. When performing The Stranger, is it technically Stranger Danger? Peapot Party Monkey, Ally, DJ Ethero, Race Jenkins, Andreas Rivera, Stu Skeel, William Westgard. Sexy Grandma's boy toy is Vanessa's Renegade Cheese Plate. Oh no. Listen up, Squid Stains. Nick, WWE Mike G, OMG, what is this game? Bree Girth, Stan Sham, Slam Shame, Sean Shit Shed, Wedge Coon, Isaac Wright, Wawa Weewa, Not That Fucking Asshole, and Aaron J.L. O'Toole, the Spectre of Ongoing Car Payments, ooh, Jake Dickerson, Tyler Petty, Armin Hammer, Zachary Train, Home Lawn Escrow, Home Lawn Escrow, Refinancing, you name it, we got it. Jameson, Coomers all the way down, Sean Gonzalez, Chris Penyak, Jay, Matt Newland asks, do you want two CDs? T Bumption's gonna need an amnesia stone after walking in on sexy horny grandma, gunblading Sid, and Marcus Harmsberry. Don't shame.
Quick question: Is Sarah Chaim's wife the new sexy grandma?
Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah.
She kind of reminds me of like sexy anime Sydnee McElroy. Her face and her haircut and her glasses are very Sydnee McElroy. So if you wanted to see what an anime Sydnee McElroy looks like, it's her.
And if you want to see what a human Ming looks like, Sarah looks like, it's her. Sydnee
Yeah, that's true.
McElroy, who I don't know what she looks like. Google
She
her
looks
right
now.
now.
Go watch, look up. I thought I sent you those compilations of her bugging Justin on TikTok. Go watch those. Go watch Sydnee McElroy's TikTok compilation on YouTube. It's amazing. I haven't laughed as hard at that as anything.
I can't go watch that right now. Oh, here she is. Yeah, she's very cute.
Yeah. I'm like, wow.
Doctor outfit.
Anyway.
All right, everyone. Well, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the air, you can email us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can find us on Twitter. We are at Square Roots Pod.
Hey, you know how we talk about rating and reviewing and subscribing on Spotify or Ghana or iTunes? You should go do that and leave a review and then tell your friends how good this podcast is. If you've got a RPG loving friend, you're the best way for them to know about a podcast that will change their lives.
I've been feeling lately like my level of internet fame is not proportional to my value as a human. So I really need a lot more followers and everyone to make me an influencer.
Yeah.
Oh, can I do a quick plug for my Twitch real quick? I was recently asked to become a Twitch affiliate, so I want to Twitch more. So you can find me, I'm Fully Loaded Nachos on Twitch.
I'm a very boring streamer, but you can watch me get mad at Lost Odyssey if you go on, I think it's Johnny Barnstorm is my Twitch.
It is Johnny Barnstorm.
And Vanessa's is LIVMOX.
That's right. And if you see me in chat, say hello. It's happened before. One of the few listeners who knew what my handle was just happened to be in some random Twitch person I was watching, and I was like,
"Oh,
hey.
crazy!"
And they were like, "Oh my god, hi!" And I was like, "This is what I need. I need people everywhere I go to be like, oh my god, you're so famous and cool, and we love you." And here's
You're more famous
bag.
and cool than Sydnee McElroy, and you're like, finally,
finally, my dream.
You'll show that, Sydnee
She's
McElroy.
so cool just because she is a doctor and saves people's lives and then also podcasts at the same time. I could save someone's life if I felt like it.
And she's actually secretly funnier than her funny husband.
It's never a secret.
Suck on that, Justin.
The only people it's ever a secret to that the wife is funnier is the husband.
Oh.
Sick burn.
All right, everyone. For Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa.
Bye.
Bye.